I'm David Riecks. This is my second year as co-lead of the Photo Metadata Working Group, though I've been volunteering with them since 2004, so I've been around a while. We wanted to welcome you all today. What's been in my basket lately, besides Miss Tiger Lily here, is trying to make the IPTC Photo Metadata Standard more transparent. Picking up from one of the items that Carolyn and I think Mick both touched on, I want to talk about encouraging vendors to adopt these new additions to the standard, because we are hoping we can expand into content management systems. It would be great if you could enter in the data at time of capture shortly after, and then see those values show up from your alt text and extended descriptions in your CMS downstream. Okay. And there's my mouse. Okay. My two cat buddies have already been adopted, but some vendors are still in the process of adopting these new paired accessibility properties here that are coming. Well, as we saw from Adobe, we've got it in some of the applications there, and some of them are coming. CameraBit has in beta now, but should be out, I think Mick was saying, hopefully within the next month or two, so at least by Christmas, which would be great. If you have a vendor that isn't one of these that has been mentioned, we'd like you to consider sending them a note. A feature request is kind of the industry name for these. If you aren't sure how to do that, I've included a link down at the bottom of this page with a Google spreadsheet where I've been trying to list all the vendors that we can think of with their preferred method of receiving this information. Some have web forms, others have user forms, others are fine with just you sending them an email, but finding that email sometimes is kind of hard. So this could make it a little easier. It's kind of a long URL, so the slide deck should be up as a Power or a PDF that you can download, and that link should be in a clickable form, and that'll be a lot easier than trying to type this down while I'm talking. As part of making the standards more transparent, we've been making some major upgrades to the software that supports the IPTC photo metadata listings by incorporating results of these interoperability test number 3s. We debuted the interoperability test last year, and then we thought, hey, we could incorporate these into the actual listings so that you can see exactly which fields are being used by each particular software. So we hope that these new requirements will encourage existing vendors to update their listings, and these detailed reports make it, you can drill down to field by field level, and you can also see whether or not these values are being synchronized back to the older IIM format, because that's something that many older systems still rely on. As with the accessibility fields, if you don't see your vendor listed, consider sending them a feature request or note asking them to submit for a free listing. Let's take a closer look. Pause here and switch out to my browser. So give me a second here, make sure I can find the right page. I think it's this one. Let's see. Nope, it is not that one. Hang on just a second here. Get out of PowerPoint. I want this one. So software support page. There we go.
David, we're just seeing your notes.
Yeah, you're seeing my
there
notes.
We go. It's working now.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, I just had to get the right one. It was showing black screens with labels underneath, and it was not clear. So here's our current list. For about half of these listings, we do have these new detailed transparency reports. Scroll up, there we go. So all of these that have this little double asterisk at the end are ones that we have the transparency reports for. If the software you use is not listed or doesn't see a detailed report, again, let us know, talk to them, see if we can get one. I'm going to flip down here. We can look at the photo mechanic listing here. And you'll see a couple of things within this listing. There's this green link here, show details of this product support of IPTC fields. There's also a checkbox, which we'll get to that in a little bit here. But if we just click on this, we will actually see a report that is generated by, and if we scroll down here, you see this software 1 equals photo mechanics 6. This is also, if you look at the lower left-hand corner, you should be able to see that that is actually an image file. And if we click on it, it'll actually open up, or you can go back over here and right click and download it. And I've already downloaded a copy of that because we're going to use that in a little bit here. But once it's up here too, then you can also use our web browser extensions to view that metadata. And so you can see what all is in there. I'm going to go back to the request form here and then go back over here. So if we back up, we can see from that report some of the details there. What I wanted to do now, though, is we're going to go and we can jump down to, let's see, here's Adobe Bridge. If we use that tick box, we can tick one of those. We can even go back up here. We can choose another one. We'll tick that. We can go back, choose another one. And then once we've chosen all three of these, we can click this, or you can scroll to the bottom, but then you'll see this little thing here, compare and support 3 products. So now we've got kind of the same report that we did for the Photo Metadata 1, but now we have it for 3 software. And again, just like before, if you hover over these are the actual test files that were submitted, so that we could use those to generate these interoperability reports. And then, so software 1, software 2, software 3. So in this case, it's Bridge, Photo Mechanic, and Picfario. And you can scroll down here, you can see green is good. The F means that the value is found. M, not so good, it's missing. So, you know, if we had a new version, once Photo Mechanic gets the accessibility fields in, we will create another one, and then those will disappear. So you can see here, it's like if we start with Bridge, we could put in the headline and it would flow all the way through, you know, from one system to another. Other ones, there may be some issues. You'll also see here there's this NSP, which means it's not part of the IIM system, so it's not something you need to worry about. But it's found in all 3 of those, and you can scroll down and you can see, you know, there's a few M's in Bridge for missing information. There's a few in Photo Mechanic. Picfario's got quite a few, got a support for a lot of the newer features. So, but that's how that can use. So this is great for those times where, you know, all the applications that you're looking for are supported, but there are some that are not. And another thing I wanted to point out too, we have kind of arranged these so that what are deemed kind of the more popular fields are here right at the top in this tan color. Some of the newer fields, you know, you get down into the artwork or object and the image, there's less support for that. Some of the some lesser supported things you see missing from the list, but that's kind of where we go to from there. So, but these are all built on those interoperability test number 3s. So one of the things that and we're going to go look at that here too. Find my notes here. I think we've gone through all that. So going back to the support page here, we've got, let's reload that. So this is useful for, you know, and we've got like half of these here have these transparency reports, but if you're looking at comparing, say, you know, you're working with one software, you're looking at maybe moving to another, or maybe you're using Photo Mechanic to prepare images, but then you're going to import them into your DAM and you're not sure if your DAM supports those fields. Well, there are ways to do that. The first is, and we'll just go, we had that image that I right-clicked. This will get you to the Get IPTC Photo Metadata page. This link is in the slide deck that you can download if you can't read it that clearly here. But this service has a way so that you can basically peek inside of any images, both on the web or that you upload. But down, we've added here at the bottom, if you want to test how well your imaging software reads or writes, you can go to the interoperability tests. And so this will open another page, and there's also a much lengthier page here that goes into excruciating detail about how the tests are done, including the test 3, and you can go down to the test outline, and this will literally walk you through step by step, download this, do this, do this. And this is why we've added these to the software reports, because this takes a lot of work for somebody. You've got to download the software, get an account and log in, figure out how to enter the metadata, figure out how to export the metadata so that it's in the file and all the rest of that, just to get back to that. So, but once you do that, once you have that file, you can go in here. We can choose something like the Photo Mechanic one. We pick that up here. Now we've got that here. We want to make sure that we're running test 3. Click the button here. And now we've got this list, and there's a full legend up here if you're not sure. Again, it's a lot like what you were seeing in the software support listings as well. We've got founder, missing. Now, the key difference is that these are all alphabetical. So you've got, and they're alphabetical by topic. So, but they are the same all the time. But you can look through here, we can see, some of these things are missing, some things are found. Slow down here so that I'm not giving you eye strain. But that's handy. Now, if we ran another report, let's say we have some unknown thing, and I just thrown one together here in a demo. So here's a demo image from something or other else, and we can do that. We've got test 3, we can do this, and we've got all this stuff here, but now you're like, okay, well, how do I do that for the other? I mean, you could open up 2 of these pages and kind of like flip between them. But, so if we've got another one here, you could try and figure out where you are on the page and flip back and forth between the 2 to see what's there, what's not. Another way that is possible is there's this nice little download as a CSV file. So, or comma separated value file, as they are called. So if you click on that, one other thing, just so you don't get messed up, all of these start with interoperability image, and then a date. It's the 4-digit year, 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and a bunch of seconds. So no way you're going to overwrite it. And then it's got the original file name that you had there. So if you save those, then you've got those that you can pull several together. And I did like a quick mashup here. I downloaded 2 different of the CSV files, put them in here, but because they're not right together, it's a little harder to see them. So you could go back and forth, but that's kind of annoying. So I went ahead and copied over the H through K from one of them and stuck them right next to them, threw a little color behind them, put a freeze pane on it. So now you can scroll up and down and you can see, okay, these are found, okay, those are all good. You can see some things, they may be missing or not in spec, but now you can kind of compare side by side. So that's another use of the interoperability reports to kind of jive in with some of the software support listings. So again, if you have vendors that are not there, let them know that we are here, and we would love to post their information about that. And again, these are alphabetical, just like they are in the other. So I think that is all I wanted to cover. I'm going to hand it over to Michael now, who's going to go into much more detail about some of the changes in the standard.
Okay, welcome. me see if it works. Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm Michael Steidl. I'm honorary member for IPTC because I was the previous managing director of IPTC, so the predecessor of Brandon. And I'm also for a long time, since 2004, member of the IPTC Photo Metadata group. And in the past years, I'm together with David, co-lead of this working group. Well, about me, I'm a white European man in his 60s. Therefore, I think no big surprise, gray hair, gray beard. And I'm a native and also resident of the city of Vienna in Austria. And I'm wearing a beige sweater today. And in the background, you see a tree, a wonderful walnut tree in the garden of my wife. Okay. David was talking, and also the previous session, about the accessibility fields. We're talking about the IPTC standard. So if you are interested in how can I find more about the standard, I show you how to get there on the IPTC site. So this is the home page of the IPTC site, and there we have circular buttons for the most prominent standards. And on the left hand, there is photo metadata. And if you click on that, you will see the landing page of the photo metadata, which has there a quick overview of the standard. And at the top 3 buttons for quite relevant information. First, and be aware, not everybody who has heard anything about the IPTC metadata is an expert on that. Therefore, we introduce what is photo metadata at all, but then we have the standard. And if you click on that, you see the landing page of the IPTC standard, photo metadata standard, and there it starts with view the specification. And there you see already the version which is shown there, which is now the 2020.1, as it was approved about a month ago in October. So let's have a look at this document there. So it's a single document. So if you like, you can also print it out, and there it has a good look. So if you make a PDF of that, it is quite printable. It is split up in chapters and so on. Okay, so what do we have there? We have a quite formal introductions about the version, when the versions was approved and so on. So this kind of formal history. But let's have a look into the IPTC photo metadata section. So there is first an overview, also explaining why we have 2 different schemas. So a schema is simply a set of metadata properties, have metadata fields, and the IPTC core is the older one, the initial one, dating back actually to 1995. And the IPTC extension schema was then added in 2008, simply extending what has been grown in the past 13 years in 2008. And this is the schema which is taking most of the new properties now. And then we have the technical metadata about how this is covered, then a very short history of the standard, and then comes what is of interest now, what is new in this version. So what we show there are the changes, and there a quick overview in the IPTC core schema. One property, one field was renamed. So a simple source was extended to source supply chain, because we get many inquiries. What kind of source should be put into there? Okay, we have it now also in the name. And the subject code property, which was quite rarely used by our statistics, got into a legacy state because we have better tools for explaining what CV term was applied to this image. Okay, let's have a look at the new things. The new property in the extension schema is the contributor. How to find the contributor? Okay, we have there in the sidebar of the left, we have the first the IPTC core schema, and then we have the IPTC extension schema. And there all the fields or the properties are listed in alphabetical order. So C contributor is quite at the top. And if you click on that, you find there a page, a table there on this page showing all the details of this new property. So it is party or parties, which means persons or organizations, which contributed to the image. Okay, what exactly is meant by that? Actually, the requirement for this property came in from the area of fashion photos makers. They say, okay, we have a photographer pressing the shutter, that's the creator, but we have also a person taking care for the dress which is worn by the model. We have a person taking care for the makeup, and we have a person being the hairstylist. And all these persons actually contributing to what you see in the image want to be named there too, not only the photographer. And this now exactly is possible by using this contributor property. Okay, what else is new? A new property identifier in the product structure. Okay, a little bit further down, we have the product shown in the image property. And if you look at that, it is building on the product structure, and you only have to click on this data type product structure, and then whoop, you see there instantly the product structure, which is a description. So a free text description of the product, a GTIN, so a quite common identifier used primarily for trading goods, and so expressed by barcodes and QR codes on the surface of products. And there the new identifier. Why was there another identifier added? No, it's not a rival to GTIN, it's a complementary property, simply enabling companies to put in their own identifier, their internal identifier, or identifiers by other resources than the GTIN. And this makes finding product images much easier than building only on GTIN. Okay, and also there's a name for the product. And there a short mentioning some help text and user notes were edited and added. As with David and I have mentioned, we work on the Photo Metadata Standard since 2004. And yes, some wording, some texting needs an update. Things have changed, views have changed. Therefore, such help text and user notes need an update to what is happening now. I'm talking about what is happening now. So just to mention, we consider this version 2021 of the Photo Metadata Standard more or less as a kind of pit stop. So that some tires were changed and some windshield were polished, and now the travel goes on, the run goes on. And what we're heading to now for 2023 is simply what about AI and images, and how does this reflect on metadata? We have the two areas in mind. One is AI generated metadata values. So tags, keywords, however it is called. So something to describe what is the content by such a term from a vocabulary. So that needs a more expressive metadata than just a keyword, which is a simple string. So we are thinking about how to cover something generated by an AI tag engine. The other area is AI generated images. So there's not the photographer pressing the button, but there is an AI engine creating the image, and there are some technology used for that. There are some specific engines used for that, and how to express how this synthetic photo was generated. And we are currently listening to people working in this area, what is required, what makes sense. And in this sense, we also are looking forward to the third discussion slot of this metadata conference, which will be about AI and photos. And what we hear there, and also after talking to some people working on in this area, we will take this as an input to our next version of the standard covering AI and images. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks very much, Michael and David. We just had one question in the Q&A, I think, which was about a particular product that was, is Capture One on the adoption list? And I can see on the list that it's not.
No. I know I've been in contact. There were a number of people I had worked with there on Media Pro. I don't know if people are familiar with that. The old iView Media Pro that was acquired by Microsoft and called Expression Media eventually went to them, and I was in contact with two of the people that were working there, but they've since deep sixed that's end of lifed, and they're throwing everything into Capture One, and I've yet to be able to get in touch with anybody there who will respond. So if anybody has any details, emails or contact info would be greatly appreciated.
Do you know somebody there at this company? Please forward.
I'm sure out of all the people attending here, there should be someone with good contacts there. So please pass them on. That would be really excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much, Michael and David.